Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Wrath of the Righteous with me, Bragadon. Let's finish our conversation with Arueshalae. Dry her ruby eyes away from the passers-by. Arueshalae looks at you. It's good that you're here. Shall we be silent together? Do you like silence? I used to talk a lot before, and all of it was a lie. My words ruined so much. I like silence more now. I think there's another option after this question. We can backtrack if we need to. May I ask you a personal question? The kind of question a mortal might ask a succubus. You want to talk about sex? Arueshalae looks you in the eye. Ask me anything. I'll not keep secrets from you. But don't expect to hear anything lighthearted or pleasant. The kiss of a succubus is deadly, isn't it? Not just the kiss. Any caress of any kind sucks the life from mortals, and there's nothing I can do about it. Arueshalae touches her lips ever so slightly. For mortals, tenderness is tenderness, and violence is violence. But I don't know what it's like to kiss and not inflict pain. I just hope my observations of mortals will help me understand. Young lovers, old spouses, even what mortals condemn as a promiscuity. To me it all looks like something amazingly human. Wait, meaning you don't just watch people during the day out on the street? Well, I never touch anyone. I never harm anyone. I just watch and listen. Is that bad? You must respect others' privacy. Please, restrict yourself to observing people in public. If you say so. I'm sorry if I did something wrong. I haven't quite figured out how mortal life works. What is sex between demons like? Everything demons do is a sort of cannibalism. Each devours mortals and other demons in their own way. Some enjoy literally tearing off pieces of flesh with their teeth. Others like to subdue and turn their prey into slaves and living tools. Some feed on others' humiliation. It comes in different forms, but the essence is always the same. Another being is an object to be used for your own pleasure. Demon sex doesn't differ from any other type of violence. In my former life, there was something I did to others, or others did to me. Only one person ever received pleasure, not the other. This last line here kind of reminds me of a quote from Terry Pratchett. First sin is thinking of someone or people as things. There we go. You still feel desire. Arueshalae keeps a long silence, as she searches for the right words. You see, on the one hand, my succubus nature remains with me. The desire I feel is the one from my old life. When I look at any mortal, I immediately imagine how she looks away. But that feeling, that desire, it's not what mortals feel. When you like someone, you don't ponder how good it would feel to drink their soul, do you? Not normally, no. Think about how good it would feel to be together. Together, you see. You know how to want someone, and at the same time, not want to destroy them. For me, it's always one and the same. True despair rings in Arueshalae's voice. I'm not even talking about love, just the common mutual affection of mortals, when they're not poisoned with violence. Now I know I've never felt it. It's hard to imagine how it's even possible. Love is a wonderful feeling. I believe you'll be able to experience it someday. I hope so. It's just that... She brings her hand to her chest. I don't deserve it. Who would dare love a predator from the abyss, who by her very nature is unable to return those feelings? Do not lose hope. One day you'll find someone to teach you how to feel. Thank you. It's hard for me to imagine right now, but I can still hope. Thank you for being so open. Arueshalae nods without saying a word. Tell me about life in the abyss. I can't tell you about all of the abyss. I've only seen a small part. If you like, I can tell you about the Midnight Isles and Arueshalae. Tell me about the Midnight Isles. In the ocean of Ishiar, not far from the mouth of the river Styx, there is a chain of islands. This is the realm of Nocticula, the queen of the succubi. There is no sun there, only a moonlit night, alternating with a moonless one. Each of the islands is one of Nocticula's trophies. the remains of a powerful entity that perished at her hands. As you see, you cannot take a step in the abyss without treading on corpses. Tell me about Arueshalae. The Porphyry City is Nocticula's capital. There is no city like it in the mortal world. Absalom is a village in comparison. Millions, I don't exaggerate, millions of demons and mortals live there. Some come voluntarily, not only from Galarian, but from other planes as well. Nocticula keeps an open boundary, and enjoys having many guests, merchants, and travelers in the city. Some arrive in chains. The slave trade is the most thriving business in the city. For now, don't worry, we'll take a stop there later. From afar, the city may seem a merry place. Many of its dwellers do enjoy themselves, until it's their turn to become someone else's toy. It's a city of suffering, Donald. Of cheerful, festive torments that everyone in the city inflicts on those around them. What are some places of interest in Arueshalae? The heart of the business quarter is the flesh markets, where the slave trade takes place. I grew up in the mansion of Lady Valexia. Her house is always full of guests doing their best to entertain her. Those whose performance is not to her liking risk remaining at her house forever, as a piece of furniture. The main attraction of the Succubi City is, of course, the brothels, the 10,000 delights. I need not tell you what they offer. If you can imagine it, someone is selling it. Not far from there you can find the harem of ardent dreams, which serves as a sort of city hall. Shamira, Nocticula's right hand and mayor of Arueshalae, receives her visitors there. For those who prefer bloodier sport, there are many arenas in the city. The most famous of them is Battle Bliss. Battles run continuously, without breaks and without rules. It doesn't matter what trickery you use to win, it only matters how much fun the crowd is having. And above it all towers the House of Silken Shadows, Nocticula's palace. Hundreds, thousands of towers and domes adorned with jewels. There are legends of what happens inside. Many have striven to experience the delights of the Succubi Queen's palace, forgetting that it was built for her pleasure, not theirs. What can you tell me about Nocticula? She's called the Lady in Shadow. They say that she was the first succubus. She's far from the most powerful of the demon lords, but this hasn't kept her from being the ruin of many creatures significantly more powerful than herself, even building her kingdom upon their bones. They say that, like Lamashtu, she strives to turn herself from a demon lord into a true goddess. She enjoys killing, but her favorite tools are seduction and deception. She only stoops to crude violence when there are no other games to play. And even then she backstabs from the shadows. Her favorite weapon is a crossbow, although a silken garrote would suit her better. If you should ever meet her, do not believe a word she says, and do not fall for her provocations. Do not try to beat her at her own game, and most importantly, remember, the worst mistake anyone can make is to underestimate her. Thanks for the information. I'll be happy if it helps. What do you think of the powers I gave you? It's a great temptation. I don't know if I should be trusted with such power. I certainly wouldn't trust myself with it. When you have so much power, it's easy to decide you're a god, and the mortals are your toys. Perhaps I should wait until after we defeat the forces of the Abyss. But that's precisely what these powers are for. She thinks for a moment, then speaks softly. You take a great risk. I'm not sure I can handle the temptation. It's hard enough as it is. Let's talk to Arsinoe next. She's a recurring character from Kingmaker. A woman in gold-embroidered cleric's robes greets you with a polite bow. Her eyes, the color of molten gold, gleam brightly in her dusky face. Greetings, Commander. My name is Arsinoe. I'm a messenger from the Temple of Abadar in Absalom, and I came here assuming the defenders of the fortress could use the services of a cleric. Perhaps you've heard about the wound that sometimes opens in my chest. Are you familiar with this kind of ailment? Arsinoe quickly probes you with the skill of an experienced healer. So the wound is right here, and then it disappeared, and reappeared. Amazing. No, this is the first time I've ever heard of such magic. What do you think it might be? I think it is some kind of demonic corruption, or particles of chaos from the abyss have entered through the wound in your body and made it so unstable. It sounds quite interesting, incidentally. Judging from the records of researchers of the abyss, stranger things have happened in this cursed place. Can you give me some advice on how to heal it? I'm sure that you have already used the Purification and Chaos Warding spells. And for obvious reasons, you now have the option of leaving the campaign and going on a long pilgrimage to various shrines. Since that's the case, keep a diary. Make careful and systematic entries about your well-being. If it gets worse, record the circumstances under which it happens. I'm afraid this is the only advice I can offer right now. I want you to try to heal me. I'm sorry, I do not have the right to do that. A healer who makes a blind attempt to heal a patient who is not on the verge of death is an irresponsible fool. You do not seem to be dying, so we will not take any unnecessary risks. I mean, that's not entirely true. Thank you. It all makes sense to me now. Take care of yourself, Commander. What services do you provide? I can sell you various divine spell scrolls, and if you don't have anyone in your party who can read them, I'll be happy to read it for you right here. However, take care out there on your travels. A scroll is useless without someone who can read it. Use a scroll while you're on the move. You need a spellcaster whose magical training covers such spells, or someone skilled in magical devices. Tell me more about Abadar. I'd be delighted to. Abadar is the patron deity of law, trade, and the prosperity of cities. He teaches that law and order allow civilization to develop and keep people safe and wealthy. Iomedae and Abadar are allies, since Iomedae also holds order and nobility above all else. It's hardly surprising to see so many mighty fortresses and wonderful cities in Mendev bloom under her blessing. How did you end up in Drezen? My story has grown longer and longer over the years, yet, sadly, never gets any more interesting. I was born and raised in Absalom. Soon I realized that bringing the word of Abadar to places where it's already been heard was too easy a challenge for a cleric like me. I've traveled all across Golarion since then, watching civilization bring enlightenment to the wildest of places. This brings joy to my heart. It makes me feel like I serve my God with my deeds, and not only my words. The tiny barony in the Stolen Lands, that had been my home for a very long time, eventually turned into a strong and prosperous kingdom. I felt that I had to go somewhere else, bring the blessing of Abadar to someone who really needed it. So that's a reference to Kingmaker as well. It'll take quite a long time for Drezen to recover and become an unfailing stronghold once again. I'll do my very best to help. You're an Aasimar, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yes, I am an Aasimar. Artemis, isn't it? I look exactly like my great-great-grandmother. I'm the only one among my kin to have Aasimar blood manifest so visibly in my appearance. I have to admit that it is a very fortunate coincidence. My Aasimar features are rather appealing, make people trust me more easily. This is a good quality to have for a priestess wishing to gather a congregation. I see that you have consecrated the altar of Abadar. So I have. Before you ask me why I did this when there's a temple of Iomedae in Drezen, I will answer. Even though my god is an ally of the Inheritor, some still prefer to pray and trust in Abadar instead of her. After all, a humble altar is no worse at removing the corruption of the Abyss than the grandiose altar in the Temple of Iomedae. I could use the help of a cleric. That is precisely why I'm here. Alright, Cape of Pest Control. This Cloak of Resistance +2 grants the wearer DR5 against all swarms attacks, and Red Salamander. If the wearer of this ring has the ability to cast spells spontaneously, it grants them the ability to cast the following spells. Fireball, Controlled Fireball, Fire Snake, Hellfire Ray, Firestorm, and Fiery Body. To cast a spell, the wearer still needs to have a spell slot of the required level. So that's typically pretty good on Ember. A Coin of Protection. This coin grants its wearer the ability to grant any ally DR5 for 1 minute once per day. A Specialist Belt. Whenever the wearer of this belt uses a scroll or potion, it gives +1 to its caster level. So if you lean into Nenio's Scroll Savant class, that's really good for her. Didn't buy any of these. It's a little pricey. There's really no reason to buy this one, so I'm going to buy that one. We'll grab that though. We've seen this before. She sells the same stuff that Wrathmist sold. But just in case, Icy Protector. This ring grants the wearer cold resistance 10. If the wearer has the Ice Plant Hex, it also grants them +2 natural armor bonus to armor class. Arachnid Goggles. The leather band is studded with dozens of faceted crystals of varying size, 2 of which fit over the eyes. When wearing these goggles, the wearer uses all the crystals as eyes, getting all-around vision and cannot be flanked. War Kilt of Serenray. A favorite item among the dervishes of Serenray, this kind of overlapping, brightly colored silk is magically reinforced, granting increased durability and mobility. It grants its wearer a +2 natural armor bonus to armor class, and a +4 competence bonus on mobility checks. That's pretty good. Because there's some other items that give you the attribute bonuses that belts would normally give you. There's some gloves, and I think there's some boots that give dexterity as well now. That could be worth it. A Cape of Fainting. This hooded cape is crafted from fine fabric with colorful embroidery and elegant weasel fur trim. The cape grants its wearer a +2 bonus on feint checks. Alright, stuff we sold before. It is the same inventory. Alright, how can I help you? I have to go. Oh, check out the temple, then we'll check out Greybor's class and level him up as well.
I'm gone.
I don't think we've read this yet. I mean, the easy way to check would be look at our abilities to see where it lies. Yeah, so we have read that one. Oh, wait, what? Why was that successful? I'm pretty sure it said 0% chance when I hovered over it. I just clicked too fast to register. The Axe of Iomedae. Once they saw their leader's sword broken by dark magics, the soldiers wavered. A murmur shook their ranks and many fell to their knees, heralding this as an ill omen that foretold of their inescapable deaths at the hands of the undead. And Iomedae thus spoke. For as long as my will is strong, and my faith immaculate, no arcane shade shall stop me. And the inheritor raised the hilt of the shattered blade before her, and illuminated herself with Eridan's holy sign, and began her prayer to her divine patron. And as each word escaped her lips, the soldiers' hearts were filled with grace and faith. Their weary bodies had their strength restored, and the lurking shadows were cast out of their souls. Her prayer finished, Iomedae, alight with Eridan's blessing once more, thus spoke. I swear on my life that my resolve to bring justice to the unholy will not falter while the evil of the Whispering Tyrant devours Golarion. My hand will not rest until every last minion of Tar-Baphon falls to the ground unmoving. And with these words spoken, Iomedae placed her hand, glowing with light, upon the broken blade, and in that instant, her righteous wrath, or wrath of the righteous, and her pure heart reforged the blade whole once more, and thus did she perform the 6th of her 11 feats of greatness. Oh, it's jammed. Alright, well, let's break it open.
We do it my way. It's time to act! I'll take care of it. Follow if you dare.
Alright, good old Greybor. So he's a dwarf. Dwarves are a stoic but stern race, ensconced in cities carved from the hearts of mountains, and fiercely determined to repel the depredations of savage races like orcs and goblins. More than any other race, the dwarves have acquired a reputation as dour and humorless craftsmen of the earth. It could be said that dwarven history shapes the dark disposition of many dwarves, for they reside in high mountains and dangerous realms below the earth, constantly at war with giants, goblins, and other such horrors. Dwarves are a short and stocky race, and stand about a foot shorter than most humans, with wide, compact bodies that account for their burly appearance. Male and female dwarves pride themselves on the length of their hair, and men often decorate their beards with a variety of clasps and intricate braids. A clean-shaven male dwarf is a sure sign of madness, or worse. No one familiar with their race trusts a beardless dwarf. Alright, he's a slayer. Skilled at tracking down targets, slayers are consummate hunters, living for the chase and the deadly stroke that brings it to a close. Slayers spend most of their time honing their weapon skills, studying the habits and anatomy of foes, and practicing combat maneuvers. He is a basic dwarf, likes his Starbucks and pumpkin spice lattes. You're a usual exemplar of your race. Mercenary background. A mercenary adds knowledge world to the list of her class skills. She also becomes proficient with light armor, spears, long spears, and javelins. He worships Norgrbr. Norgrbr is known as the once mortal god of thievery and assassination, as well as a keeper of secrets. He is called the Reaper of Reputation by some, but he has more insidious titles among worshippers who venerate his other three aspects: Blackfingers, Father Skinsaw, and the Grey Master. He remains an enigma to most, and his true motives are unknown. Many of his followers remain ignorant of his plans and designs. Norgrbr is the only evil god amongst the Ascended. Domains Charm, Death, Evil, Knowledge, and Trickery. Favorite weapon is the short sword. His first feat is 2-weapon fighting. Benefit: your penalties on attack rolls for fighting with 2 weapons are reduced. The penalty for your primary hand lessens by 2, and the one for your offhand lessens by 6. Normal: if you wield a second weapon in your offhand, you get 1 extra attack per round with that weapon. When fighting in this way, you suffer a -6 penalty with your regular attack or attacks with your primary hand, and a -10 penalty to the attack with your offhand. If your offhand weapon is light, the penalties are reduced by 2 each. An unarmed strike is always considered light. A weapon-focused Dwarven Axe, we've seen that before. A +1 attack roll with Dwarven Axe. Accomplished Sneak Attacker. Sneak attack damage increases by 1d6. Your number of sneak attack dice cannot exceed half your character level rounded up. A Hammer the Gap. You repeatedly strike the same location, causing increasing amounts of damage. Benefit: when you make a full attack, each consecutive hit against the same opponent deals extra damage equal to the number of previous consecutive hits you've made against that opponent this turn. This damage is multiplied on a critical hit. So I like this feat quite a bit, but it can be completely useless because you do have to keep hitting this opponent over and over again. And oftentimes you'll one-shot an opponent, and so you never really get to take advantage of that. I've seen Power Attack before, not going to read it again. Slayer Proficiencies. A Slayer is proficient with all simple and martial weapons, as well as the light armor, medium armor, and shields except tower shields. Slayers get Studied Target. A character can study an opponent he can see as a move action. The character then gains a +1 bonus on weapon attack and damage rolls against it. The save DCs of character class abilities against that opponent increase by 1. If a character deals sneak attack damage to a target, he studies that target, allowing him to apply his study target bonuses against that target, including to the normal weapon damage roll. At 5th, 10th, 15th, and 20th levels, the bonuses on weapon attack rolls, damage rolls, and to character save DCs against a study target increase by 1. At 7th level, a character can study an opponent as a move or a swift action. Then he has Double Slice, your offhand weapon while dual-wielding strikes with greater power. A benefit: add your strength bonus to damage rolls made with your offhand weapon. Normal: You normally only add half. Sorry, you normally add only half of your strength modifier to damage rolls made with a weapon wielded in your offhand. Then you get sneak attack. If a character can catch an opponent when he is unable to defend himself effectively from her attack, she can strike a vital spot for extra damage. The character's attack deals extra damage anytime her target would be denied a dexterity bonus to armor class, whether the target actually has a dexterity bonus or not, or when the character flanks her target. This extra damage is 1d6 and increases by 1d6 at later levels. This additional damage is precision damage and is not multiplied on a critical hit. The character must be able to see the target well enough to pick out a vital spot, and must be able to reach such a spot. So flanking is just if you have more than one person attacking the same enemy, or threatening them in melee. So it's really easy to proc sneak attacks. Weakening Wound. When making a sneak attack against a creature that has damage reduction, the character's attack reduces that damage reduction for 2 rounds by an amount equal to the character's level. This penalty to damage reduction does not stack. Then upgraded Study Target. Improved to weapon fighting. You get a second attack with your offhand weapon, albeit at a -5 penalty. Then upgrade to Sneak Attack. Upgrade to Study Target, making it swift. And slow reactions. Opponents damaged by the character's sneak attack can't make attacks of opportunity for 1 round. And then free sneak attack. Alright, let's level him up. So Assassins is not bad on him. I think I'm going to take that just because he is an assassin and that's his whole shtick. So mercenary undertaking this task with cold professional detachment, the assassin is equally adept at espionage, bounty hunting, and terrorism. At his core, an assassin is an artisan, and his medium is death. Trained in a variety of killing techniques, assassins are among the most feared classes. So assassin is a prestige class, you can't take it from level 1, so there's only 10 levels of the class. When the game first came out, this class was practically useless because it relies heavily on poisons, and demons are immune to poison. But they finally added a mythic ability or feat, pretty sure it's an ability called Corruptor, that ignores immunity to poison. Kind of like Ascendant Element. Because demons are also immune to, or highly resistant to some elemental damage, and there's a mythic ability that lets you overcome that as well. Class skills: Mobility, Persuasion, Trickery, Perception, Stealth, and Use Magic Device. At level 1, he gets, well, we'll just look at it here. Target Assassination. As a full round action, an assassin can make a special attack against a target affected by his Mark of Death. The target must not be able to see the assassin. The assassin attempts to aim for the target's weakest point, which greatly complicates his task and applies a -2 penalty to the attack. If the attack hits, the target must make a Fortitude saving throw, DC equals 10 plus the assassin's level plus his intelligence modifier. On a failed save, the target instantly dies. On success, the assassin's attack is treated as a critical hit. The assassin still has to confirm the critical hit. The target is also hit with the realization that it just had a brush with death and becomes shaken for 1d4 rounds. Regardless of whether or not the save is made, the target is immune to the assassin's target assassination ability for 24 hours. He gets another sneak attack die. Assassin proficiencies. Assassins are proficient with the crossbow, dagger, rapier, shortbow, and short sword. Assassins are proficient with light armor, but not with shields. And Mark of Death. Assassin can study his target before delivering the killing blow. As a standard action, the assassin marks the creature for death. As long as the creature is affected by Mark of Death, the assassin's attacks against it ignore its DR and resistances. The assassin can only have one target marked at a time. Athletics, mobility, and we do want stealth, because for that one ability, he can't be seen. That's it. Alright, I'm going to call it here, and next time we'll enter the Citadel and do some Crusade management. We're going to have to meet some of our counselors and advisors and all sorts of people. It's going to be a talk-filled episode. Looking at the map to make sure I didn't miss anything out here. I'm pretty sure I didn't.
Should move.
Alright, I'm going to call it here, and next time, we've got a plan. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.